And I don't know how literal Megan meant to be with putting the team on your shoulders. With 2 torn labrums, that probably hurt a little bit, but still.
No pun intended.
None whatsoever, but still helping lead that offense, Lisa.
Well, I thought Alyssa Thomas, she's key. Even though she may not be their vocal leader, she's their leader actively. And it starts with her defense that led to her offense. But when you have that will that you are not going to let your team lose, she's that player. And I remember when I played, Michael Cooper would always say, "Smooth, don't let us lose." She took that on her back, whether it was the offense, it's the defense, it's the deflections, it's the activity. And when you see a player playing that hard, Steve, you have to follow along. And I thought they willed this win for them. Maybe they didn't play the best basketball, but I thought they came out firing on all cylinders and they were able to hold it down at that end.
And I just love the way Alyssa attacks. On everything. Lisa summed it up, but her mindset is, I'm going to grab every rebound, I'm going to guard whoever you need me to guard, and I'm going to go drive the basketball as hard as I can. And it's a straight line drive, Lisa. There's no in and out. It's saying you either get in front of me and take a charge, I'm running you over, I'm scoring the basketball. And I think that's the way she plays, and her mindset and the way she played, it rubbed off on everybody else.
Well, Courtney Williams also added 16.7 rebounds and 4 assists, and our Megan McPeak also caught up with her. A winner-take-all Game 5. Let's listen to Coach Mike Tebow at the podium.
You made such a run to get in that game after the rough first half. What was the difference down the stretch for you guys when you just couldn't hit shots in the last 2 minutes?
Well, I'm struggling to understand how Connecticut played with 1 foul in the fourth quarter. The stats are telling me that Elena Deladon and Emma Meeson shot 3 free throws between them, and Alyssa Thomas and Jonquil Jones shot 16 free throws. So I think that's a big difference in the game. Free throw attempts were 26 to 13. So I felt if we could have gone to the line a couple more times, we could have slowed their momentum down a little bit. But we missed some shots driving to the basket too. We missed some layups. We kind of got in each other's way a little bit. But it's been hard in this series for whoever's digs themselves a hole. Every team has come back in this series. Both teams have come back, but it's hard when you're looking at the deficit we were looking at. I think it was 18 at one point, and the fact that we were ahead says a lot of good things. But then our execution once we got the lead was not great.
Mike, first row to your right.
Mike, when you see what you got out of Aerial Powers tonight, how much of that is just her ability to come take over a game in spurts like that, and how much was you deciding that she was the right matchup to be able to take more of a leadership role offensively in that moment?
I'll be honest with you, I didn't put her in any leadership role on our offense. She got hers because they were taking away other people and she was aggressive. We didn't run any plays for her in particular. We let her be the off-ball person, and when they helped, let her come to her and swing and let her attack from that standpoint. It's amazing how if you bring energy, the ball finds you. I wish we had played as a group with the energy that she brought. I feel bad. I feel bad. Her and Tiana Hawkins played well, but it's hard to keep everybody on the floor. You got Elena and Emma and everybody else. But Ariel gave us an energy lift as much as anything.
Mike, we're going to have about 4 more questions for Coach, and then we're going to have the Washington players. Mike, next question will come from second row to your left.
Mike, you guys have the MVP of the league, but it seems that tonight was a great team effort. What can you say about the depth of your team, especially throughout the course of these finals?
Well, we had the highest scoring bench in the league for the season, so we're used to that. And the bench got a whole lot better when Emma came back from overseas. You don't want. It's the good and the bad of it. It's a nice thing as a coach to have a bench that can bail you out and do things, but it's tough that if you have to rely on that, as we've had a couple times, in this series. I like the fact that I can play 9 people every night and get good results. It's hard for me right now when I'm talking to get over how we started the game. So it's, I'm glad our bench gave us the energy we needed, but it's such a disappointing finish.
Mike, second row to your left.
This is on. Okay. Well, Speaking of that start, what do you attribute the slow start to?
Well, let's start with the opening tip. When we were lined up wrong and Alyssa Thomas laid it in on the opening tip, that would be a bad start. And then letting them have 4 offensive rebounds in the first quarter. They got to the free throw line. We had a couple turnovers. We had some empty possessions. I thought we did about everything we could do wrong in the first quarter. I thought our team is known for passing and cutting and screening. It's not known for having 15 dribbles per possession. I thought that's what we did in the first quarter.
Mike, standing to your left.
Mike, can you point to anything? You said the execution wasn't as great once you got the lead. Can you point to a reason why?
I'd have to go back and look at it. I mean, some of it is, there were 2 possessions where we literally almost ran into each other. I know we picked ourselves up off the floor 4 or 5 times throughout the game. I mean, literally slipped on the floor and fell down and had to hustle just to get a shot off. Execution doesn't look too good when the ball handler's laying on the floor, so it would be nice if we'd stay on our feet.
Anyone else? Mike, first row to your left.
Mike, we talked before the game that Elena, you weren't sure, played a little more spurts than last game, but she played most of the first quarter. I think she played 30-plus minutes tonight. Was that her feeling better or just the flow of the game?
I think she felt better. I mean, she'll tell you, when you ask her, but I thought she felt better, looked better. We just didn't do a very good job of getting her enough field goal attempts. Part of that is that, she's been with the injury. It's been harder for her to post up on the block. We'll see how she feels come Thursday. But that would be something we would need to do a little bit better, is get an inside versus outside game. They had 26 points in the paint in the first half, and we had in the teens. So, we got to get her some touches in different spots on the floor.
Mike, thank you. To our media, if you'll stay seated, Elena Delle Donne will be here in just a moment.
You heard it. We'll hear from Elena Delle Donne after this break as the Connecticut Sun tie the WNBA Finals at 2 games apiece. The Connecticut Sun force a Game 5, so let's hear from the Mystics. Elena Delle Donne and Ariel Powers.
Elena, Doug Feinberg, the AP. 2-part question. You played more minutes tonight. Were you feeling more comfortable? And the second part is, you guys worked all season long to get home court advantage in the situation. You have Game 5 at home. Just the confidence knowing that you're going home to try to win the series.
That's what we worked for this whole season, but we also know you can't just rely on being home to get it done, and the way we came out, started the game, that really dug us into a huge hole. They're a great team, so to give them that kind of lead really makes things difficult.
Elena, Ariel, first row to your right.
Elena Howard-Magdalene, New York Times. Your dribble drive early on seemed different than the way you were getting to the basket. You just take me through how you were feeling, whether you felt more comfortable getting to the basket, and whether it was a conscious decision to try and affect the game differently than you did in Game 3.
I was a little looser today, so I felt better. Hopefully I'll continue to progress and feel even better Thursday. They were playing more aggressive defensively. They weren't just letting us sit outside and shoot threes comfortably. So I was trying to just draw attention by driving and hoping to get other people open.
Next question, standing to your left.
Alexa Philpott with the Hartford Current. Ariel or Elena, you guys didn't score in the final 2 minutes and 10 seconds of the game, despite those opportunities. What was the breakdown there that didn't allow you guys to get that much closer and try and tie it up or get the lead again?
Well, I think we also had a few open shots that we didn't hit. The ball movement was there, but we didn't hit a few shots. I honestly feel that way. We just have to be better come Thursday.
Last row, center.
This is for all 3 of you. Obviously, I'm sure you would have wanted to win today, but we're going to a Game 5. That's the kind of thing that I would imagine you dream of as a kid, getting to play in that sort of winner takes all. What is that like now going into that for Thursday?
I just think we have to start off better. We were down 16 going into halftime. We came out in the first 2 minutes and we were down 10. We went on a 6-0 run, had 4 stops. We have to come out with that aggressiveness in the first half. From the starting tip, come out with that aggressiveness. And I think it would have been a different outcome for us. So we have to do that Thursday.
Next question, second row to your left.
Emma, you didn't have any points in that first half. What changed to get you going in the second half?
I think we just changed our way of playing as a team. We moved the ball more around, we cut more, we moved more. So that's how I got my open shots that I'm used to. I think I pushed it maybe too much in the first half and did not get my shots I needed to take.
Once again, seated to your left in the second row.
Ariel, you were finding down here. Yep. Coach said before that you were in the off-ball role and you were finding these shots because other people were pretty heavily guarded. As you kept making shots and getting more opportunities, how were you feeling out there?
Excuse me, how was that?
How did you feel as you kept getting those opportunities in the off-ball role to be hitting those shots in the middle of the game?
I mean, it's good when the ball is dropping, but overall, I didn't feel good. Offense is good or whatever, but you know, defensively as a team, that's where we're gonna win. As you saw when we got the stops, we got it going offensively. It doesn't really matter about me scoring at all. As a team, we have to be better on the offensive end and defensive end. It's cool, but it's not what's gonna win us a championship.
Anyone else? One more question, and just Doug, if you would, Coach Miller is on his way, so if you remain seated, last question, then Coach Miller.
Elena, can you answer the question before about just dreaming of being in Game 5 of WNBA Finals? I know you didn't have a chance to college level to play for the championship there, but to have a chance to win a title in a Game 5 on your home court.
I wanted to win it in 4. That's hard to say, but I think, you know, it's great for the league, it's great for fans, it's great to get more people excited about our game, so for that, I'm grateful. I think, you know, this has been quite the series, and people better be tuning in because this is some great basketball and some really good teams. So from that sense, it's great for this league.
Yep.
Emma, Elena, Ariel, thank you. And to our media.
And there will now be a winner-take-all Game 5 Thursday night as the Sun have forced that Game 5, tying things up at 2 games apiece. An interesting note about their offense. Each one of their starters with 14-plus points had never happened in a finals game. So let's hear from Sun coach Curt Miller.
Giving a quick shout-out to our amazing crowd. They showed up both nights. It's been a really, really successful year at home for us. So for us, to be able to send it back to Washington is really exciting for us, but we couldn't have done it without our crowd. Finishing 18-3 at home this year allows for this opportunity, and for everybody that plays a part inside Mohican, the workers and the fan base, we can't thank you guys enough. And Connecticut truly showed out here in the playoffs and really showed up. So really, really happy that way. Huge win for us. Look forward to the questions. Weathered a difficult third quarter and was able to withstand that and gather ourselves and have a good enough fourth quarter to send this back to Washington.
Curt, first question to your right in the front row.
Curt, Howard Magdal, New York Times. John Paul had only 10 shots today, but it seemed like she was extremely involved. I know you've talked in terms of touches rather than shots. Take me through what your strategy was and how you felt like it was implemented tonight for her specifically.
Yeah, we went stretches without her touching it, which was frustrating, but her activity never stopped. I thought she was really active around the glass, even when she wasn't touching. I thought she screened better tonight. And then we got her touches when we needed in the fourth quarter to get a rim run after the amount of minutes that she plays and how much physicality she has to handle and go through. A big turnaround late. We got in the middle of the floor and got her more touches down the stretch. And I think it was really, really important since we went stretches at times without her getting touches. She's still so important. It's not always shot attempts. It's being able to get her in actions.
Curt, last row to your right.
Hey, Coach. Esteban Seals, WGBH News. Going back to your opening statements, last couple of years the Sun had been knocked out the first couple of rounds of the playoffs. Getting these deep runs into the playoffs, especially here at home, what does that mean for the team? Again, getting to play these crucial games at Mohegan.
Yeah, that's 3 straight really successful regular seasons, but disappointed in those second round exits. Finishing the seasons at home with losses when you've been so good at home has been tough to swallow. But I credit our players. There was a lot of pressure from the campaign of Burn It Down to being really transparent and open dialogue since training camp that we wanted to take the next step. And the players handled that pressure, handled that honest talk out in the media that this team, this was the year that was circled, this was the year that we wanted to take that next step. So for them to get to this point, to go to a Game 5 in the championship series after those disappointment second round exits in this building, you saw a determined team that was not going to end their season in this building regardless of what everybody was saying.
Mike, seated first row to your left.
Hi, Coach. Doug Feinberg, DAP. A 2-part question. For the fourth quarter after it was tied, I mean, it seemed like, not to mix metaphors, but a title fight with each team throwing punches with threes back and forth. And then it was the defense or just missed shots that sort of decided it in the last 2 minutes. Just what was your, on the side, watching that and feeling? The second part of the question is, again, taking yourself out of it, it's been a heck of a series, and it comes down to a 5th game. I mean, how great is that for the WNBA having this come down to a Game 5 on Thursday?
Yeah, there's, when you sit there with your coach's hat on, there's times where this series is maddening that you can't get stops. But from a fan perspective, for a league perspective, the amount of shots in pressure situations with how hard everybody's playing, it's got to be amazing TV and good for our league. Both teams in the fourth quarter were making big shots. We would make a 3, they'd answer with a 3. Ultimately, we made a few more plays down the stretch, got to the foul line tonight more than they did. Alyssa Thomas was the best foul shooter in the game. Sometimes crazy things happen in the playoffs. But again, first quarter, while they took the lead, and ultimately that first quarter really helped us and has been a big story in all 4 games. But can't be happier for the league that this is a Game 5. And I think, at least from my perspective, while it's maddening at times to try to get stops against these teams, it's really, really good basketball.
Kurt, next 2 questions will come to your left, standing.
Hi, Kurt. I wanted to ask you about Shakita's performance tonight. She obviously had the 3-pointer that gave you guys the lead for good, but she made some key shots earlier in the game too. What did you see from her, just being able to get that shot off, but also be able to drive in and be really just active in your offense overall?
Yeah, I thought, you name it, I thought she was really active. We put her on the move. She was very aggressive, hunting for her shots. And made that big 3. They answered it, but she made a huge 3 for us, and her defense is so underrated. They can isolate her, and they isolated her the first play of the game, but she doesn't get the credit that she deserves as a help defender, as someone that absorbs when we switch and can guard bigger people. She's never going to get the credit that she deserves defensively, and we wouldn't be in this situation without her defense. And at times we've got to give her help, but she was huge tonight. Her energy is so important to this crowd. The crowd just absolutely loves her, and her energy is so important to our team.
Mike?
Kurt, one, is it emotionally draining coaching this deep into a series? And 2, now that it's at a winner-take-all scenario so deep into the series, is there really is there less that a coaching staff can accomplish in the hours or day leading up to that final game versus just, you kind of know so much about each other at this point, just roll the players out and see what happens?
I mean, I'm not going home and putting my feet up on the coffee table tonight, I can tell you that. But the coaching staff will watch hours and hours of film before we take our next into film session tomorrow when we land. There's things to show. There's things where we had slippage. There's things where they attack differently tonight than they have in some of the other games. Same with us. So there's still a lot of coaching and trying to show your players that. But ultimately, when the ball tips up on Thursday, it's going to be who stays true to themselves, who imposes their will on their style and their system, and who plays with more energy. But it is exhausting. I can't wait to have a few days off, but we're having the time of our life right now. Nothing better. You dream as a little kid, being in a deciding, final game, a game 7, a game 5 of a series to win a world championship. If you grew up a basketball fan, these are the moments that you dreamed of.
Kurt, last question, standing to your left.
Kurt, tonight early in the game, Alyssa seemed to be running the point more in transition than maybe in previous games. Am I imagining things, or is that a point of emphasis tonight? Because things really seem to go a lot smoother offensively with her just driving down and kicking.
Yeah, it changes our spacing. It changes our attack. We like, as she's initiating offense and some of the actions that it gets us in. You can't do that. They're too talented. They're too well coached to do anything for too long. But in stretches tonight, with Alyssa starting the offense, we were really, really productive. Some of our most productive offense came with her running the offense.
Kurt, thank you.
Thank you.
To our media, our Connecticut.
The Sun have tied the WNBA Finals. Here's Jonquel Jones, Courtney Williams, and Jasmine Thomas at the podium.
Jazz, what was down the stretch? You guys hit a 3. I think Shaquille hit a 3. They hit a 3. But it was defense in the last 2 minutes, and they didn't score. Were you surprised that's what it came down to? I mean, it looked like it was whoever hit the last shot, but really it was whoever got the last stop, it seemed, won the game.
Yeah, we talked about that the whole second half in all our huddles, whether it was in a timeout. We talked about defense and stops is what was going to win us the game.
Our next 2 questions will be from the front row to your right.
Howard Magdal, New York Times. Courtney, Jonquel, this is for both of you. It seemed like above and beyond your offense in this game, your defense found another level. Courtney, first with your steals and deflections, and then Jonquel, just you talk about adjustments you made in terms of rim protecting tonight.
I think we just stayed aggressive. Our teammates definitely challenged me personally and told me that regardless of what my offense is, I still got to get after it on defense. So I think just keeping that mentality and knowing you just got to play hard. I mean, our back was against the wall, so we had to get to it.
Yeah, just piggybacking off of that, I think I had to look within myself. I felt like in the last game, when Meesman was able to just get straight line drives against me, it was very disappointing, especially going back and watching it. So I just wanted to challenge myself in that way. She's a great three-point shooter, but I think I can contest and be able to keep her in front of me. And then just all together, us as a team just had a mindset just to play tough defense. We knew at the end of the day, it would come down to a stop. It would come down to us just being physical and getting that. So I think we did it really well on the defensive side, and that's why we won the game.
First row to your left.
Molly Yanity, Molly Yanity with The Athletic. Sorry to break everyone's eardrums. Jonquel, when you look into yourself, do you see a nasty person?
In what sense?
I mean, nasty, like when you get in the paint, do you feel like I'm going to kick her butt?
Yeah.
Are you a dog?
Yeah,
Are you a dog? That's what you're trying to say. I'm a dog.
I am a dog, but I feel like, I feel like it's my job to just go in there and change the game with my rebounds, being physical inside the post. I felt like the last game, they were able to keep me off the boards because they were holding me down. So I just had to shove back. I was waiting on the refs to call something, and they weren't calling it, so I had to get physical too, and that's how it is.
When she is like that, when she gets in that mode, how do you guys feel?
I told her at halftime, I said, Jay, I don't care what they doing to you. I don't care how physical they are. I don't care if they beating you up. Stay doing what you're doing because that's huge. What you're doing is huge for us right now. So regardless of what they doing, you don't care how much they beating you up. You a dog. So stay after it, baby, because that's huge for us.
Our next 2 questions will come from the last row center.
For all 3 of you, Kurt was just in here talking about if you're a kid and you grow up playing basketball, you dream of playing in a Game 7 or a Game 5. What does this mean for you guys, and how excited are you?
It means a lot. It means everything. Just how hard we fight, how much this means to us. You know, we talked about this whole playoff time, like us being, disrespected, and people think that we just gonna give up easy, and we not. We gonna fight every single second because we deserve to win a championship as well.
Yes, sir.
Last row to your right.
Hi, it's Del Museos, WGBH News. With the team just having sort of its playoff disappointments the last couple years, how has it been just to have these deep playoff runs, especially getting these deep playoff games at home, especially with, a game like we just saw?
Well, I think we always knew that we could do this. I think we were in a tough situation with the single elimination games. I think just in a single elimination game, sometimes things don't bounce your way, and things don't go your way. And so, you lose one game and you're out. But we knew that we were a team that were able to do this. And we're not shocked to be here. We're excited to be here. We understand that we're one game away from accomplishing our dreams and accomplishing the things that we know that we can do.
Second row to your right.
Hi, Jeff Magliacetti, W Insider. After the end of that third quarter, when it was tied at 68, the 18-point lead was gone, what was the message to the team at that point? Anyone can answer it. What was the message to the rest of the team?
Jazz came over to us and she said, it's 0-0. It's time to get back to it. We knew that they was going to go on a run. I mean, we didn't know they was going to go on that type of run. But we knew that we had to get after it. We know we had to stay mentally strong. We know that basketball is a game of runs. So we knew that our mentality was just get stops and knock down buckets. And that's what we did.
First row to your left.
Courtney and JJ, can you answer the question that Jazz answered before, just about what it means to be playing for a championship in a Game 5 on Thursday?
Yeah, I mean, it means a lot. We were the kids in the driveway, like Coach was saying, shooting up shots and saying it's a game. We're not saying it was Game 7. In this case, a Game 5. So it means a lot. We understand that we have a lot of work to do, but at the end of the day, it's really good to just sit in the moment and realize where you are, and then worry about that when the game day comes as well. It's awesome.
I mean, we're not satisfied. Nobody thought we was going to be here, especially Ari. She thought we was going to go out in the semis, but, we keep that chip on our shoulder. We know that we're the only ones that knew we was going to be here, other than my daddy back there and the parents, the lovely parents. So we keep that chip on our shoulder, and we know that what we could do, and now it's time to go get one in D.C.
And that game will come Thursday on ESPN2 as the Sun and Mystics are tied at 2 games apiece. The WNBA Finals continue at 8 Eastern. And, of course, for highlights and analysis, hang out with us on Game Time right here on NBA TV. Now, Lisa, the Sun assisted on 80% of their field goals in this one. Mm-hmm. A very important one. The kind of game that you have to win in order to continue playing.
Yeah.
That's 4th best in WNBA Finals history. The top 2, you played in both. You played on the team that assisted on the highest number of field goals. I want to know what that's like when your offense is clicking on all cylinders on the highest stage, the biggest stage.
Well, it's really great when you're clicking on all cylinders, but here's the important part. The defense is key, and Jonquel Jones talked about it. It's going to be important for them to come out with their defense and let their defense ignite their offense. When you talk about the Suns, they need to get into the running game. They need to control the tempo, and she's got to be the big girl that she was tonight and get 18, points, 13 rebounds, get inside and be active regardless of what's happening. But when you flip the side and you look at Washington really did not come out themselves in the beginning. They didn't share the ball as much. Passing that ball and getting back to their style of game is going to be important for Washington in order for them to will themselves into this game. Now, they are at home. Usually when you're home and usually when you're the team that lost, you can't sleep. I've been there. When you're in that closeout game, you can't sleep, and all you can think about are all the things you did wrong and what you could have done better. Washington's going to come out ready, and I think it's going to be important for the Suns to match their intensity, and if they get down, can they come back?
What do you think, Smitty, will make the difference for the Mystics then in Game 5?
I think they have to get off to a great start and also get the crowd into it. But I think also for them is they have to keep the Sun off the free throw line. 26 free throw attempts today slows the game down, and I think for them is they can't afford that. They got to play defense without fouling, rebound, and then they got to hit some shots, and I think they will in Washington. The key is going to be for the Sun is can they play through adversity? Because if you're the road team, it's going to be a lot of adversity, crowds against you, you're tense, And a lot of times you can see the team that stays calm, cool, and collected, because then you start to get into it with your teammates, because everything is tight. And I think for them is get to that free throw line, make their free throws, and make it a physical game.
Well, stay with us right here on NBA TV because Game Time is coming up next. For Lisa Leslie, Steve Smith, I'm Kristen Ledlow. We've got WNBA highlights and analysis, as well as the NBA preseason on the other side. Stay with us.